It's the Daily Beat on KBay 103.9. How you doing? I'm Ben Shields, hanging out with dailytrip.com news editor Dakota Morrissey. Dakota, how you been doing this week?
Man, I've been great.
Chasing down news stories, as always.
Yeah, just like in the movies.
Yes.
Reporter out in the field, getting the leads, as we say in the biz.
And when you're in the news biz, there's no time for sleep, right? Because you never know what's going to happen.
That's true. I have had to jump out of bed a few times for fires or whatever is going on.
Well, this week, a lot more news to talk about. So Hoover Valley Road, that is just a hotbed of news. So we've had the rock quarry plan out there, of course. We've been talking about that and covering that for the past few months. And now there's something about a subdivision that's near the rock quarry plant. What's this all about? What's going on?
Well, we have this rock quarry area is large. It's about 700 acres. Well, immediately next door to that is like a 2,300 acre tract that is now applying to put in 214 houses. Immediately next door to where this proposed rock quarry is trying to go in as well. So we're trying to get to the bottom of, how would that work? If this quarry is going to be immediately next door to a large subdivision, they're both in preliminary stages. They're waiting on approval from the Lower Colorado River Authority, just for, drainage, stormwater. They all have to go through these Highland Lakes sort of rules and standards through LCRA. Okay. So they're not sure things, but it is kind of curious to have this massive subdivision apply for a permit right next door to a rock quarry, because it's hard for me to believe that somebody would want to buy, a 10-acre lot with a house on it immediately next door to a massive rock crushing operation.
So I guess Hoover Valley Road must be a popular place, not only for residential, but apparently rock crushers as well.
Well, I mean, it's such a beautiful drive. I don't know if you've been out there, and it's Inks Lake, Camp Longhorn Cavern State Park is right off of there.
Right.
And then you have Burnet, Delaware Springs. So it's just kind of this thoroughfare in between the Highland Lakes and Burnet. And I guess somebody is trying to take advantage of that, through industry or, commercial real estate development.
So I guess you and Elizabeth will now keep an eye on that and see what the next steps are.
Yeah, Elizabeth, a lot of her time, you're talking about never sleeping. Elizabeth has been having to cover this quarry, this development, and all sorts, this rail line we talked about the other day, all kind of going on right now.
Pretty, a lot of stuff happening, a lot of drama going right now. Now let's move to the southern part of Burnet County. And this is something y'all been following for a few years. Matter of fact, this has been something that has been in the dreams of local officials for over 20 years. And this is a Wirtz Dam bridge project. Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like we were about to get that underway, but it's been delayed a little bit. So why is it delayed? What's happening there?
Well, they were getting very close to doing work, just getting this bridge going. But through kind of required testing, they have to go around and look in the ground before they get to work. They found ancient archaeological evidence of primitive humans.
Wow.
Yes, right there on the banks of the Colorado River. So it was significant enough that it could be registered as a National Historical Site. They're still doing assessments. The Texas Historical Commission's looking into it. But it sounds like the bridge will now have to be redesigned to avoid that specific site. Construction was supposed to start this summer, 2025. It's now likely going to be more like fall 2026. So pretty significant delay on this bridge.
So does that mean they might have to move the path a little bit, or what's going to happen? I guess I'll have to do more studies.
That's exactly it. It's how do they do it the right way?
Okay.
Still, they have to acquire a lot of easements. All kinds of things go into that. So it's no small thing for this archaeological site to be discovered, because we take that seriously as well. So it's kind of amazing that they're willing to reroute a giant bridge project.
How far back do we think this goes? Do we know?
The
archaeology,
It's from what I understand, it's not like the Comanches or settlers, a few hundred years ago. We're talking thousands of years ago, primitive Native Americans, not like any tribe you probably would have heard of. We're talking about real Stone Age.
Really prehistoric stuff.
Yes, prehistoric stuff.
Wow, so that's interesting on numerous fronts then.
Definitely cool, I think.
All right, so it's turkey season now.
Yes.
So gobble gobble, what's going on with turkey season?
Well, so we actually had a lot of good rain the last couple of years, and I'm going off of Texas Parks and Wildlife here. I'm not a big hunter myself, but from what I understand, all that rain means that we're going to have a ton of birds. I know I've seen a lot of turkeys myself, just, by my own standards, but it sounds like there's going to be a bunch of birds just hitting kind of good maturity at 2 years this spring.
So it should be a good, fine turkey season then.
Yeah, I mean, like I
Okay.
said, have you seen them driving around yet?
I haven't yet. Have you?
Yeah, out near
Okay.
Llano County, I pass a huge flock of them. I'm seeing them running across the street in the morning, so on my way to work sometimes. So I know they're out there.
Have you been working on your turkey calls? You have any turkey calls you want to do?
that. I'm not doing that.
You know Robert Linder. Robert Linder, of course.
Yeah.
With from the Marble Falls area, he's been big into the Wild Turkey Federation, and he's really good at his turkey calls.
We got to get him in here.
Yeah. Talk some turkey. You
Yeah,
can
let's
definitely talk some turkey. All right, so you can read all about the stories, not only the 3 stories we talked about, but many other things that Dakota, Elizabeth, and staff have covered this week. dailytrib.com. If you haven't subscribed yet, go to dailytrib.com/subscribe. All right, Dakota, let's do this again next week.
All right. See you, Ben.
It is the Daily Beat every Friday morning at 9:20 on K-Bay 103.9.